I'm sure you considered becoming a YouTuber at least once in your life, and probably more than once. And it honestly sounds like an amazing career. Like, imagine being your own boss, and imagine how lucrative this career can actually be. This video isn't here to tell you to do YouTube or not to tell you to do YouTube, it's just my experience. Basically, if you don't know who I am, take a look at these videos that I'm showing right now on screen. If you've ever seen these in your shorts feed or maybe even on TikTok or Instagram, that was me. I made these silly hypotheticals, basically some sort of scenarios where you would make some sort of decision at the end. There were survival scenarios and you would have to choose items. There were different morality-wise questions like, would you rather do this or that? I always came up with the scripts myself, like I completely wrote them from scratch. I sometimes took ideas from Reddit. I sometimes just brainstormed for hours, but I always wrote it myself. I did not, unfortunately, use my own voice for the most part. Most of my career, I used the text-to-speech voice, which, of course, I'm very ashamed of right now, but there's that. And during my peak, I had 740,000 subscribers. And during my peak in views, it was back in 2024. I'm pretty sure I was getting like 3 or 4 million views a day. It was absolutely amazing. I started this journey way back in 2023. I didn't really have a good idea of what kind of channel I wanted to make, but I knew I wanted to try YouTube just one more time to see if it works. So I gave myself a promise that I would post something every single day. I started with these fun facts videos because I was completely out of ideas on what kind of videos I would make. They didn't do particularly well, and this has been the case for a few months at least, until about like a month or two later, I discovered a new format. The hypotheticals, of course. It was perfect for me because I was always the kind of guy that would come up with all sorts of stories. Day and night, I'm imagining all sorts of scenarios in my head, coming up with all sorts of, universes, stories, characters. I always loved doing that. And the hypotheticals format, it allowed me to use my creativity instead of just, saying fun facts or making riddles or whatever. And the best thing happened in September of 2023. My channel actually blew up insanely. So for the first 2.5 months, most of my shorts would get 2,000, maybe 6,000 views if I was lucky. And after switching my niche and just doing this over and over for quite some time, one of my videos blew up to 6.2 million views in just a few days. It was kind of shocking, because I never in my life got these kind of views ever. But at the same time, it was, it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. And it didn't even stop there. My other videos also starting to blow up. And my whole channel was getting a lot of views at the time, which not only not only made me happy, but it also allowed me to monetize my channel. I think it was 3 months after I started this journey. I've been posting daily, and 3 months later, my channel was actually monetized. It was absolutely tremendous, and the channel kept growing, actually. The peak was not in 2023, it was in 2024, especially in summer. I was getting insane amounts of views. I was earning really good money at the time, and I can't even imagine a better situation for how old I was, 22 at the time. For 22-year-old me, it was amazing, honestly. But I was never naive, I always knew that I wasn't really, a real YouTuber, so to speak. I was a shorts creator, and shorts, they are really weird in a way because, the shorts viewers are not sticky at all. If you stop posting for a week and the shorts algorithm, it will stop recommending you at all. You're going to lose 80% of your audience really fast. And when the algorithm stops recommending you, people just forget. They forget about you completely. And I always knew that my career was basically, it relied on me getting these views and, YouTube not suddenly banning me. it was actually pretty terrifying at the time to rely so heavily on the shorts algorithm. It was the most unpredictable thing in the world. And in May of that year, I actually quit my job after I think it was like half a year of being monetized. I decided that it was enough, and I really hated my job at the time. And YouTube was actually bringing me way more money than my job, so it didn't really make sense to stay. I just decided to, dedicate more time to my YouTube channel and start another project. And so I started the development of my indie game because, my thought process at the time was, this YouTube thing, it would not feed me for the rest of my life, obviously. The shorts audience is very leading. I don't know how to tell you that, but the algorithm is just so unpredictable. It stops recommending you. Everyone will forget about me completely, instantly. That's what I thought would happen, and it was scary. It was scary all the time because it was the only thing that was bringing me money at the time, and so I decided to start developing my own indie game. I know it's not exactly the best decision ever because indie games, in retrospect, are insanely difficult to promote. You need you need either a really big audience to promote your indie game, or you need some sort of a unique idea, something so unique that when you try to market it, it makes people stop, and think about this. It doesn't matter how good your game is. If you want to promote it, it needs to be unique. It needs to be eye-catching in some sort of way, some sort of wacky idea, gimmick, or something like that. I did not understand this at the time. I had this idea for an indie game, back in 2020. No, I think it was 2016. Yeah, I played Undertale for the first time, and it inspired me so much that one day I thought to myself, I have this YouTube channel that is bringing me pretty good money, and I have a pretty sizable audience. I think I have a pretty good idea of how I can promote this game. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out this way, and so in 2024, I started the development of my indie game. It was pretty difficult because I had to learn pretty much everything from scratch. I knew how to code because I used to be not a game developer. I used to be a web developer for quite some time. That is the job that I quit at the time, To start things off, unfortunately, my channel kept just, descending and descending in terms of views. I was getting less and less views, and, it was pretty stressful at the time. I was also finishing my indie game. I was going to release the demo of my indie game, and I think it was it was May of 2025. I was releasing the demo of my game, and it was the moment that I was waiting for a very long time. I had been developing the indie game for about a year at that point, I think, and it was a huge bet. This whole indie game thing, it was supposed to be my way out of this career that was completely unreliable and would eventually collapse. I knew for a fact that this YouTube shorts thing, it would not feed me for the rest of my life, so I was finding ways, and unfortunately I discovered that making an indie game is not exactly a good idea for my situation because unfortunately it did not work too well. If you did some sort of indie game promotion, you know how difficult it is to promote an indie game. It is absolutely tremendously difficult, and despite everything, despite the effort that I put in, the almost over a year of work, it just didn't work at all. I tried many things after I already released the demo. I applied to festivals and such, and it just didn't work. I eventually gave up on the idea just sometime later. 2025 was basically one of the most stressful years of my entire life because not only was I failing at my indie game development, it was absolutely it was devastating to see the idea. I came up with the idea for that indie game back in 2018, and to see it come to life so many years later and flop so hard, it was difficult, to be honest. It was not easy to cope with. And in addition to that, my YouTube channel was also doing somehow even worse than at the end of 2024. So basically, it was already one of my lowest points in my entire career. My YouTube channel was just not doing great at all. My indie game failed. My Discord was dead, and I felt like a YouTuber who, I had all these people watching me. I was still getting hundreds of thousands of views per day. And somehow I felt completely alone because, this short audience, I knew that the moment YouTube stopped recommending my videos to them, they would just, 99% of them would just forget about me or give up. I was anxious because really badly, I just wanted to transfer my audience somewhere more reliable. I tried doing this with an indie game, promoting on my channel, and unfortunately it didn't work. And the worst thing was yet to come, because you see, April this year, 2026, my channel got demonetized overnight without warning, without no warning at all, like just out of the blue. And I remember looking at that message and thinking to myself that I wasn't really surprised that it happened because, to be completely fair with you, I was using a text-to-speech voice. My videos, they were completely original, but at the same time, YouTube's AI was striking down my videos all the time, limiting their views and such. And I felt that the YouTube algorithm just did not like my content anymore. So basically, I lost even the little income that I had. I don't even know how I felt at the time. It was sort of like, I don't remember feeling devastated because I was already used to bad shit happening to me all the time. The worst thing is, it happened right before I went to a vacation. It was supposed to be like the most expensive vacation of my life. I went to France for the first time. It was a big moment for me, and this demonetization thing happened right before that. It was absolutely horrible. If I wasn't on antidepressants at the time, I don't even know how I would even survive all of this because it was just so horrible. Eventually, however, when I came back from my vacation, I started, I decided to do something about this. I just thought, what the hell else am I gonna do? This YouTube channel is basically the only thing that I have now in terms of my career. I don't want to go back to being a software engineer. I absolutely hated that job, and I just dread having to come back to it and the stress of all that. And, even if I did come back, I highly doubt that my salary would grow all that much. And I decided to give it one more attempt. I started promoting my Discord server once again on my community tab, and somehow it worked. I remember in May 2026, we had about 400 members, and just a few weeks later, we had 800. It easily just doubled because, a lot of people were very empathetic about my YouTube situation because, I started reading these comments, and I just started to realize that, I always considered myself to be, a shorts creator. I never thought of myself. I never thought myself to be famous. I never thought of myself as a real YouTuber. Just I had 700,000 subscribers, but I did not feel like a famous person at all. And I think it was for the first time ever when I saw so many comments of people saying just, how much they enjoyed my content and how much they regret that all of this even happened to me. It was just so tremendous to see, for the first time in my career, I felt like something that I did was actually, it had any meaning to it. And I just knew that we had something pretty cool going on, And I kept fighting. I started a Patreon, which, to be real with you, I did not expect to blow up at all, because I started a Patreon for my indie game just a year prior, and a total of 2 people ever donated. I didn't earn more than $5 at the time, and I didn't have big expectations for Patreon for my channel. Of course, it did not cover all of my expenses. It did not replace YouTube, but at the same time, it gave me enough money to at least cover rent, and that was really good. It was just so nice to see that people they cared enough about my channel that they would donate money to it. It felt amazing. And so for the next few months, I had to completely reinvent my channel. I knew that from now on, I could not use text-to-speech voice anymore, at all. And I think it went pretty well, but unfortunately, when I changed my editing style, when I changed my voice, my retention tanked. Because the thing about shorts is that when people are used to the type of content that you make, any change, like any slight change, even a little bit of change, you move like images or subtitles 2 pixels to the left, people are going to notice, and people are going to hate it. And the retention dropped really bad. Like, my retention on the channel was always absolutely stellar. I would get 90% retention, or sometimes even 95% all the time. That was my baseline. But now I was getting 60-70% retention, and unfortunately, it made it pretty much impossible for me to maintain the views that I was getting before. So yeah, I tried doing shorts for quite some time, and it did not work at all. My retention was really bad. My swipe rate was bad, because a lot of people were completely confused about, what happened to my voice, why the editing changed, and all of these questions. People were asking all the time, and a lot of people that weren't even asking, they were just confused and swiped away from the video because they didn't recognize me. And I tried for a long time, but I just realized that I was not in a million years that was going to get the 10 million shorts views to get monetization again, to be able to reapply. So I tried doing long forms. I did them for quite some time. To be real with you, switching to long forms is insanely difficult, because people that watch shorts, they're not necessarily going to watch long forms. And if your channel is exclusively a shorts channel, if you try to just start posting long forms one day, you're gonna struggle to break 1,000 views, even if you're getting millions of views on shorts, because that's just how YouTube works. And the shorts algorithm and the long form algorithm are completely different. They're separated, and you're gonna have to build your long form audience from scratch. And that's basically what I had to do, because I needed to get at least 4,000 watch hours to be able to reapply on that channel. And to be real with you, I had to get monetization back on that channel. There was no way I was not going to get it, because, it's not that, your one channel gets demonetized and you can just create a new one. No, if your channel gets demonetized, you cannot monetize new channels ever again until you resolve the demonetization thing on your demonetized channel. It is absolutely freaking insane. If I didn't resolve the demonetization thing on my main channel, I could just completely forget about my YouTube career forever. It was wild, and I did not want this to happen, so I was kind of forced to keep making videos, even if I completely struggled to keep going. It was so difficult to spend so much time on a long form video only for it to get like 2,000 views. It was difficult, but I was slowly getting there. I did get a few videos that blew up. One video got 40,000 views, which is basically the equivalent of 400,000 views on shorts. Because remember, long form views are actually a lot more valuable than shorts views. And another video that I made, it actually got like 160,000 views, which was absolutely insane. But still, even though I was able to reapply to, be monetized again, yeah, I actually got monetized again, just like a week ago. It's just, the damage has been done. To be completely real with you, my channel right now is not in a good place at all. Even though I am monetized again, I cannot do shorts anymore. They're still not even close to what I was getting before. My long forms, they can work sometimes, but it's still pretty difficult to figure out what exactly works and what doesn't, and what kind of format would even work on my long forms, because I can't just turn shorts into long forms and just make the same type of content but for long forms, because it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. And the problem is that even all these months later, when YouTube tries to recommend my videos to my previous audience that watched my shorts, they don't click, they don't watch. At this point, you could imagine I'm at a bit of a crossroads, because I do still post on that channel, but the views that I'm getting and the money that I'm earning from it is not even close to what I was getting before. And to be completely honest with you, I do think that this channel can be saved eventually if I put enough effort into it and if I try really, really hard. But I'm not certain of it, and I just want to try new things. I recently started a Minecraft server because apparently a lot of people from my audience actually play Minecraft. I started that as well. I decided to keep this channel going, but now I'm back, and in case you didn't notice, I did not have a script this time. I had a few bullet points, but I decided to, just make things as simple as I could. I'm just gonna record some Minecraft footage from my SMP and post this on YouTube. I'm not gonna do any animations like I used to, because I'm realizing that this sort of limits the way it limits what I can and cannot say, because I always cared about packaging it right, optimizing it for retention and all that. And all my previous videos on this channel, they took a lot of time to make, and I just figured it would be better to just channel my thoughts, and not worry about retention, not worry about optimizing anything, not worry about editing anything. I just want to talk. I just want to talk to you guys. I want to tell you all of my stories. I want to tell you about my indie game. I want to tell you about all other things that I used to do. So subscribe if you still haven't, and thank you for watching. If you have any questions, leave a comment.